What's up, guys? Today I'm going to teach you how to tray flip on a fingerboard. So just like in the how to kick flip tutorial, I'm going to go over hand placement, finger placement, and then the motion. In the kick flip we talked about pop and flick, but in the tray flip it's all kind of just one big motion. But before I do any of that, I'm going to basically talk about what the tray flip is. So what the tray flip is a 360-degree rotation and a kick flip in the middle of that. So it ends up looking something like this, if I can do it. There we go. And there's multiple different ways to do it. Some people pop it super high. Some people do it super low. Like even lower than that, like I barely even get it off the table. And then some people like me just do it in between. And the different ways you do that, I'm going to talk about this in finger positioning, but you all kind of do the finger positioning and motion different. So I'm going to tell you the finger positioning and motion for all three different versions of the tray flip. So firstly, talking about the finger positioning for the regular tray flip, the one that I do, I basically do it like this. I have my back finger curled and on the end of the tail back here, but not in the middle here. I have it down towards the edge, and I'm going to be flicking and moving the board. So this way, if you're a lefty, it'll be like this. Super uncoordinated with my left hand, but you'll be moving that way. So I'll have it moved towards that way because I feel like when it's over here, it's a lot easier to move it this way than just being in the middle or this edge especially. And then the pointer finger, I put it behind the bolts, and I have a little bit of room there, and I have it just angled a bit. I don't have it straight like on the kick flip. I don't have it as high as the kick flip. I have it farther back, more off the board. It's less up here like the kick flip was up here. You want your finger to be off, back, and angled a little bit. And have that finger on the edge and have it bent a little bit. And that's for the regular tray flip that you perform like this. So for the kick flip, we pop it really high. It's really similar to the normal one, but I like to just move this back finger up a little bit, so that way instead of scooping around more like this, I try and go more up and down. So instead of being like this, try and do it more like that. So I just move the back finger up. Front finger stays the same, maybe back a little bit, but move the back finger just up a bit and pop more upward, so that way you can pop more upward than sideways. So for the kick flip tray flip that's super low to the ground like this, I used to do them a lot and be really good at them, and it was the only way I ever did it. This is where I think the finger positioning is the most different. So this is a lot different. Like I know people who do it low to the ground who position it the same as the normal one or even the high one. And everyone's gonna do these differently. Not everyone's gonna position their fingers this way, but this is what I do. When I pop it super low to the ground, I basically tape the tip of my pointer finger, put it smack dab in the middle of the board, middle between the bolts and middle of the board, and basically hold it on there like that. I don't rest it down here. I do it like this. And then my back finger, I put in the dip. Like I almost either put it like here or even in the dip down here. So obviously I'm in different clothes. I basically had to stop that video yesterday. Go to baseball practice, came back home. It was late at night. I was tired. My dad was watching TV down here. So I just dropped it, came back the next day. I'm gonna finish it off. So what I was saying is the finger positioning, and I was talking about how this middle finger, this back finger, is almost in the dip. It's like barely even on the tail, just on the very edge or in the dip. And basically, I'm not good at these. I think the low kick flip is the hardest to do. But if you get really good at them, can also look the best. So the reason you do that is it just gives you, like when I do the low tray flip, I don't even think about popping. I just think scoot back. And when you take pressure off that pointer finger, it just naturally hits the ground. So now we're talking about the motion for the normal tray flip. Not the high one or the low one, just the normal one. So your finger positioning, like this. There's a gap between your finger and the ball, it's just angled, and your back finger is not on the very top, but on the edge and curled. So when I go to do one, I don't even realize I do this, but I start out like this, and then while I go to do it, my finger straightens out and then curls back in to scoop and do that pop. And you might be like, well, why don't you just start straight and then scoop? Something about it, just starting with your finger curled like this and not straight, just makes it easier and more consistent. This is also like my first time fingerboarding today, so I'm like, every time I start fingerboarding, I suck. And then, and then I get better as I do it. So basically, the movement is stick your finger out, and then almost like you're turning your wrist. You want to basically bring the tail down and back at the same time, like this, but then also bring your finger up. So if you just kind of move your wrist, that just kind of happens. And so I basically move my wrist and flick this finger back. That's basically all I do. And doing this push back gets the 360 rotation. And when you do that in your fingers here, it naturally falls off the finger and makes it flip. Like that. So now moving on to the high kick flip. It's basically the same thing, but you just, since your finger is on the edge and not as down here, basically just pop more upwards. So when I do the high tray flip, I don't think scoop like I do. When I do a normal one, I think scoop, 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 because you scoop. But when I do a high kick flip, I think pop. I just think go up. And this is how I have done all of these versions of a tray flip at one time or another. I started out by doing the high tray flip, and then I went to the low one because I got tighter trucks, and I feel like it's easier to do a low one with tight trucks. And then now I just do a normal one somewhere in between. Man, I suck though. There we go. It was sketchy, but so yeah, when I do the high one, I just think pop, pop, pop. I don't think scoop, I just think like pop. Pop it in the air. Scoop backwards, not around. For the low kick flip motion, it's a lot different. So you have your finger in the middle, and you have your the reason you have it like this, you don't have it craned like this on the other ones. You have your fingertip in the middle and the edge like this. Again, I think this is easier with tighter trucks. So you basically, like the other one, I thought, you know, back and down. The high one, I just thought pop. This one, I just think back. All I do is that. And having your pointer finger on the tip makes it so when you also have very light pressure on the board. For the other two, you can have it light pressure. My nose itchy. Light pressure, hard pressure, they basically all end up the same. This one, you want to have very light pressure on your fingers. So that way you don't over pop it and get it high. And so that, you know, it can still get off the ground, because basically, I think, don't move this finger, just leave it there. And when you have light pressure and you pop, or scoop, it allows it so that the tail can still hit, and so that but it still keeps the board close to the ground and doesn't just pop it high into the air. So the way this works is it's literally just a 3-shove, and then your finger's just there, so it barely comes off the ground, and it keeps the pressure on, and always it flicks off, so it still gets that kickflip rotation, but it also keeps it low to the ground. These are, I did this when my trucks broke, so I swapped them out, and they were a lot harder because I didn't have any other bushings. And yeah, so that's the low one. So that is all for the video. If you have any other video ideas that you would like, put them in the comments below. I always read them, and I always take the suggestions. So yeah, just remember, all this varies. All fingerboards are different. They don't all have the same concave, same dips, whatever. But whatever works for you, just do it. It might not be what I said, but if you can tray flip, just do that. So yeah, that's all for this video. See you guys in the next one.